All right, so you've been warned, okay? And I know that everybody's screen looks different, but I'm going to go by the order that you're on my screen. So Trevor and Shelley, I'd like for you to unmute yourself and let us know who you are and anything else you want to share with us. Do let us know if this is your first eclipse or not. Let us know, what you hope to see on this trip and anything else you want to share with us. So go
I'm
ahead.
Shelley Billicky. Hello. We're probably the only ones from the upper Midwest other than where Dave is originally from. And that's how we know Dave. And that's how we got connected with Dave. And this trip is from his family, who are friends of our sons from high school. So that's how we've been connected. We've been on 3 different trips with Dave. And I have not seen a solar eclipse in my life and really looking forward to it. I don't know if you have, Shelley.
I remembered one when I was, but I don't know if it was a total one.
Yeah, no clue.
Yeah.
But we've just been on trips, and when we saw this one, we wanted to get out of Wisconsin and the cold in March or April. So we decided to jump on this trip as quickly as we could. Now we've had the warmest winter on record, and we've already had a 75-degree day here in Wisconsin. So who knows? We'll see.
Well, that's great. And for those who have been with Dave on other trips, you know that he's a wonderful leader, and he knows so much. I mean, I'm relying on him with most of the identification of the wildlife. Even though I'm a zoologist, he knows so much from a lot of different areas. And the 2017 total eclipse that we took a small group with, and Patrick helped lead that one to South Carolina to watch, and that was the first total one that I really felt that was, I guess, more fully aware of what was happening, and it's such a neat experience that, and I shared a video with you of someone who some people are surprised how they feel, once they see that, and you can watch a partial eclipse and it's nowhere the same. So I'm really keeping my fingers and my toes crossed that on that day, outside the bat cave, which is pretty cool in itself, that we will get to experience that. And the neat thing about this eclipse is it's almost double of what we had as far as totality in South Carolina. This one we've got, over 4 minutes of totality. South Carolina, we only had, maybe 2.5 minutes or something of totality, which was pretty cool. But so you've got a little bit longer time to look at what you want to look at. And Patrick, remind me to maybe talk a little bit about the strategy of prioritizing what you want to do in those 4.5 minutes, because you can waste it.
Yeah, it's, I mean,
So
that time goes by really quickly.
So Patrick, make sure we come back to that as far as some guys. Of course, we'll have most of the week to continue to tell you what, how to prioritize your time to get what you want out of that experience. Okay, I'm going to drop down to Ken.
Well, so before I say anything about me, Jerry, I have to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
I did not know that bats were involved in this trip. Do you remember what happened to me on one of your hikes?
Say that again.
I did not know that bats were involved on this trip.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
We
now
won't
I
talk
remember.
about it, okay?
Okay. Well, I think you only got pooped on by one bat. So
That
he
was
will
enough.
have maybe, perhaps a couple of million that give you that opportunity. All right.
Oh,
Sorry.
boy.
Sorry. Ken's been on a number of my trips and is always looking for fossil shark's teeth. But this one he got a good view of a bat.
Yeah. So I was on the trip to Columbia for the total eclipse, and I won't give anything away, but it was great. I think, well, I was in high school in 1962 or 61, and I was living in Fayetteville. There was an eclipse, but my memory is that it was not total.
Yeah, the one I saw was total. And I pulled up the map. And I'll send you that day. That might be the same one. It might not have been total in Fayetteville, but
Yeah.
in the middle of Duplin County, it came right through. So I've got a map of that track, and I just don't remember what the date.
Okay.
But it was 62 sounds about right.
So my wife is going on the trip too. She's not here right now. At least I don't see her. And she's out of town. She's not avoiding Jerry. She told me to say that. I live in Burlington. We live in Burlington. We used to live in Apex. I spent a while volunteering at the museum in the astronomy lab and got to know Patrick, whoops, right here on my screen. Good guy. Patrick and Jerry are both top notch. So we're looking forward to going on this trip and meeting all the rest of you.
Well, great. Well, thanks, Ken. And tell Eileen I appreciate her letting me know that she's not missing this because of me. So anyway, as you can tell, we like to have a lot of fun on the trips, and so we're those that I don't know yet, I really look forward to engaging in your sense of humor too. So anyway, Deidre, you're next on my list, and am I pronouncing that correctly, or is it
Deirdre?
Deirdre? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Close enough. Yeah. Yeah, I've known Dave for maybe 15 years. I first went to the Pantanal trip with him, birding mostly. And he's just encyclopedic knowledge, and I just learned so much and had so much fun. And then we went to the flooded rainforest with him, and David also went to that one. And I fascinated with bats. I'm a member of BCI and love stars. And we did go to the eclipse in 2017. And it was really great. It was very cloudy and even drizzling. We didn't think we'd see it. And then right before it happened, the sky cleared out. So that was very amazing. So, and Barbara has been a good friend of mine, and we first met on one of those trips with Dave Davenport. We still see a lot of each other, go to a lot of breweries in Nashville. I live in Girton, which is right next to Bat Cave in the mountains.
Yes.
And David is not here. He's on the screen, but he's out in Colorado with his grandkids right now.
All right. Well,
And
very
I'm
good.
here playing pickleball and taking care of other grandkids sometimes. So yeah, and I was going to ask Patrick, will there be other opportunities to do stargazing or anything besides the eclipse?
Yeah, that's the hope. So we'll definitely set up the solar. So I'm bringing a small telescope with us,
Good.
and the solar filter. So we'll at least be able to look at the sun beforehand and probably during. So we'll be able to set that up. But yeah, depending on how much time we have, hopefully we can do some nighttime observing as well.
Yeah, great.
But most of what we can see, so the moon's going to be in new phase, so it's going to be hard to see that unless we do it like one of the first days. We might be able to catch a little bit of it. Most of the planets are basically in the same direction as the sun, so we probably won't see most of those until the eclipse. So that leaves like harder to find objects, like fainter things. And it's not a big telescope, so we'll see what we can see.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah, we
have a
could-
spotting scope, but I'm not sure about bringing it.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, honestly, like if you have binoculars, I mean,
Yeah, I'll just bring
binoculars are good. So yeah.
it here for travel.
Yeah, I think for night stargaze, the binoculars are wonderful. So if you've got a really decent pair of binoculars for birding, they should work well for the stargazing. And also, once we're in totality, to me, the best view in the world is putting your regular binoculars
Mhm.
on the sun and seeing the corona. To me, that was so special. So I will be bringing some solar binoculars for looking at the sun at any time to see sunspots and all. But during totality, you want to put a good pair of binoculars on the sun,
Hmm.
and that's, to me, that's one of the best views there. But we can talk more about that. Thank you, Deirdre and David. And so I did. Yeah, I figured y'all were in different places, or at least different rooms of the house.
Yeah, no, I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado, where my son lives and with his family. And I like to come out and stay with them a little while just to be with the family. And the reason I'm going back and forth is I've been told to help with dinner. So I'm trying to do some roasting and getting chicken ready. So I'm back and forth. And I've also got 2 dogs that want to go in and out. So when they scratch at the door, I have to leave. But Deirdre and I live just outside, a little southeast of Asheville. We went, as she said, we went with Dave to down to the Amazon, and that was just amazing. And Dave's just incredible. I really enjoyed it. I was introduced to birding by when I met Deirdre, and never been a very good student, I'm afraid, but I really enjoy being with her and going out and doing those things. And yeah, the solar eclipse in 17 that we went to was just, it was really incredible. We felt so lucky to have the sky sort of clear up just at the right time. But we were on a mountaintop in the forest, so it was we have a lot of challenges to seeing the sun. But so I'm really excited about that. But also a few years ago, he's no longer with us, but an older friend was a real bat specialist, and he had taught at the college level and was known, actually pretty well known in the bat community. And so I've heard about Austin and the Texas bat population for a long time, and I'm excited to see it. I've been to Austin. I've never seen all the bats that come out from under the bridge. I wish I had, but we never had a chance to do it. So I'm looking forward to that, and the birding and the mammals and the astrological stuff. So it sounds like a fantastic trip to me.
Well, great. Well, thanks so much. And glad that you're joining us on this. And
David plays a lot of musical instruments. He usually brings at least a guitarlele. He'll probably bring.
Oh, nice.
On the trip.
All right. Very good. Awesome. All right. Barbara, and if you want to try turning on your video so we can see you, and we'll let you know if you.
Okay. That's mute. Uh-oh. Share. Select a
should be just turn on your camera.
Hold on. Oh, start video. There we go. Sorry. There we go. Okay, Rob is here in the background.
Hi, Rob. I see you now.
Okay. Okay, Barb and Rob here. Yeah, we've known Dave Davenport and Jerry since our daughter was a junior curator at the museum. Oh my gosh, how many years ago? 15 years ago. So yeah, highly respect both Jerry and Dave on being trip leaders. Been on trips with both of them. Really looking forward to this. This will be our second total eclipse. We ended up in 2017 at the top of Sassafras Mountain in South Carolina, just by dumb luck, which happens to be the highest mountain in South Carolina.
Oh, nice.
So that was awesome. And Patrick, I'm looking forward to the explanation of why some eclipses are 2 minutes and some eclipses are 4 minutes. Okay, so I have no idea how that works, but I'm sure you'll be able to educate us. Yeah. Looking forward to it very much.
All right, great. Thank you so much. All right, and your sound is doing well now, so you keep the screen up if you want to.
Okay.
All right.
But I'll go ahead and mute.
Okay, Paula, you're next.
Okay.
Okay, you muted on both devices now. Go ahead and unmute your phone, I think. Whoop, or the other one, let's see, there was sound coming through.
To now whether.
Okay, okay. All right, you're frozen on one device.
Okay, that says done speaking on my phone, so that doesn't work.
Okay, now we hear you fine. Whatever it is, we hear you fine.
I'm just gonna talk into the computer and see if that works.
Yeah, it sounds good. You sound good.
Okay, good. That's my phone, so that doesn't work. Turn the volume down on the phone then. All right, so I've been through a few partial eclipses. Whoops. I gotta turn the volume down on the phone then. Tap to speak. So now I'm talking through my phone because the screen on the computer is out.
Okay, you're sounding good.
Oh, okay. So I keep switching back and forth and that makes a lot of delay.
Recording in progress.
Oh, now it says it's back. Anyway, I'll give it a try. Oh, now it says it's back. Anyway, I'll give it a try. It says it's back. Anyway, I'll give it a try.
You're going to have to cut one device off.
I've got sound coming from both computer and phone now. It's just too confusing.
So I think your computer was the better sound. Can you just mute your phone?
Yeah, but then I've done that and then I turned down the volume. But then the screen goes out. Anyway, yeah, I've experienced partial. Oh, the sound is terrible. Let me see if I can just turn this off.
Just turn one of them off.
Well, I know, but I get a feedback when I talk. Anyway, I think I'm technologically challenged and I'm not gonna be able to communicate.
I'm going to mute one of them, just see if that's how that works. Okay.
Okay,
Now go ahead, talk.
okay,
All right.
yeah,
Sounds good on our end now.
sounds good. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so partial eclipses, one here, but a couple in Colorado when I lived there. But I could never look at it because I didn't have anything to protect my eyes. But I'm going on this trip just to see different plants and birds and scenery, geology, whatever there is to offer. And my daughter will be joining me. She's not here tonight. I don't know why.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. And your training is geology, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I
All right,
studied
all right.
it in Colorado and in Montana
All right.
and
Well,
worked in Wyoming and Idaho for the Geological Survey for a few years.
all right. Well, very good.
Haven't been to Texas though.
I haven't spent much time in Texas myself. I've only flown in and out a few times. So I'll be in new territory too. So I will be learning along with many of you too. I certainly will recognize some of the families of the critters that are there. There may be some different species from what I'm used to, but we're always learning when we're going out, and we've got and Dave, someone who's been to Texas many times, and so he will certainly help us along the way. So I didn't hear back from Dave, so I don't know what his situation is, but this would be a good time to try to answer any questions that you might have that we can answer. And if there's anything else you would like more information on, we have we're about a month from when we depart, so there's plenty of time if you do need to get some more gear or something of that nature. And I have emphasized and judging from the trips you've already been on, I think you all know that a good pair of binoculars is really essential for seeing the wildlife. They'll be really in good for if we do have some clear skies for stargazing, and also for totality. If we are lucky enough to see that, it's just a wonderful view. So I encourage you, if you need to upgrade your binoculars, now is a good time to do it. But what questions do you have that we can help with your preparation, and many of you are probably more seasoned travelers as far as long distance traveling than even I am. So feel free to share your tips and advice also with regard to packing and everything. So just sort of leaving it open for you to unmute yourself and speak up.
Okay, I have a question. How bad do we think the mosquitoes are going to be?
We got Texas-sized mosquitoes to look forward to.
Because I'm a magnet.
Well, I may have to refer to Dave later. Matter of fact, let me make my Dave list here. And I know on his information, he didn't think that they were going to be that bad. But I don't
Hey,
know what
those
that
bats are
bad.
coming out for something.
Yeah, but I have been paying attention to the temperatures out there, and it's pretty warm in South
Yeah.
Texas right now. I mean, I saw this week it's going to be 89 at the Bat Cave. So
Oh,
it looks like they're having lows in the 50s and 60s, and then highs, up in the 80s. So insects will certainly be active. I just don't know that area with regard to how many sources they have for propagating. But sort of be prepared. But I'm not overly concerned about it. I rarely use insect repellent because I don't like to use it. But I do wear permethrin treated clothing a lot of places, particularly against ticks that in brush that we might have here. So I'm at the present I'm not concerned, but that's based on.
Deirdre, are you going to bring on
Am I going to bring what? Rob, I lost your sound.
your pickleball bat paddles?
I'll leave it.
I didn't get what the question was.
I think he was
All
asking
your
for a pickleball paddle.
Oh, pickleball paddle. That's good for
Yeah,
fighting mosquitoes,
pickleball
right?
Break from that.
paddles so we can walk the
I
mosquitoes.
was asking if you were going to bring pickleball paddles.
Yeah.
All right, I'm muted.
Okay, bye.
I will actually ask Dave for a little bit more information about that possibility, but if we need to get more insect repellent while we're down there, we can certainly make a stop somewhere and get some. We will be in some coastal environments, and they tend to have higher proportion of biting insects. So we'll see.
Yep.
I do have a question. I was on a trip recently, and actually 2 trips recently where they used, I guess sometimes they're called whispers. So the Bluetooth headset with a earphone for the people that are listening.
Mhm.
Is that something that would come in handy? My hearing is not good, and if I'm like in the back of the bus, so to speak, I'm going to miss a lot. So is there any opportunity for that, or is that in the plan, or we just have to ask for a clarification?
We hadn't planned for that, and I don't have access to those right now. We'll be traveling in two vans, so we're planning to try to hold most of our commentary and our pointing things out when we are together as a group, and we'll try to keep people tight enough to make sure that everybody hears what we're talking about and what's being pointed out. I know what you're talking about, Barbara, and that those work really well particularly when people are spread out.
Yeah.
I will check with Dave about maybe at least having radios between the two vans so that we might can communicate between two vans. If one van sees something and talking about something, we can share it with the second van.
Okay.
That's great.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Susie and I called it back of the boat syndrome when we were in the Amazon with Dave, because we were at the back of the boat, obviously. And then by the time, like playing telephone, by the time the information got back to us, whatever it was that Dave had seen was gone. But radio would be great.
All right, thank you. All right, what else?
All right, one quick question. When we go down the coast, do we go all the way to where the Rio Grande comes into the Gulf of Mexico, or are we cutting across the lower tip to get to the Rio Grande? Where exactly is our cutoff point?
Yeah, I had the map pulled up earlier. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to answer that right now. It looks like we'll be. Yeah, I'm not. This map doesn't have enough detail for that. What I can try to do is plot it out on Google Maps, but looks like we'll be on was it San Pedro Island, which is about as far south as you can get, and then we'll be cutting to Mission as we're heading towards Laredo. So I'm not sure if oops. Yeah, I'm not sure I can answer your question right now, Trevor.
Okay, it's not critical. It was more of a curiosity question.
Okay.
We'll
Okay.
find out when we get there, and we're good either way.
Okay, but there, you have the information in the itinerary of every place that we're staying, so what roads we'll be using to go from one point to the other. Yeah, I just plotted it on Google Maps between the two sites. I figured that's the shortest distance, and that's probably what we'll do in traveling to those sites. They've I'm sure Dave probably has a more precise answer than that, but that's all I have for right now. Well, Jody, I see you were able to join us. Welcome.
Yeah, so sorry I missed the beginning. It was kind of a crazy night.
That's fine. We as usual with some Zoom meetings, we had some technical difficulties here and there, so we dealt with some of that. But we did all introduce ourselves, and I have recorded this.
Okay.
So I will share that later, but why don't you go ahead, since you have joined us, let us know. We've already met your mom, obviously, but let us know who you are and why you wanted to join us on this crazy trip.
Okay. So yeah, I'm Jody LaPointe. I'm Paula's daughter, and I'm going because it's my mom invited me. It seemed like a fun trip, but I'm really excited to see the solar eclipse as well. And I haven't spent much time in Texas, so I'm interested to see whatever we see.
Well, that's great, and I think that's true for a lot of us. So we're all looking forward to it, and we're all really hoping that we will get a good view of the eclipse. When we first talked about planning this trip, the South Carolina trip that we did, it was just all focused on the eclipse, and it was just a two night trip, and we drove the museum bus to it. But if we're going to travel all the way to Texas, you don't want to spend all that money and put all your eggs on an eclipse. So we teamed up with Dave and turned it into a wildlife, Texas wildlife trip. And then with the hope that we'll finish up with a nice dessert of the total eclipse. But if for some reason we don't see it, we're still planning to have a great time with everything else along the trip. So anyway, we're hopeful. Any other questions? I'm sorry that that Dave's not with us. He's probably got better answers than I do on some of these things. But what else that myself or Patrick can help you with? Patrick, you want to talk any about in terms of maybe a little bit of the sort of strategizing your time for what you're going to see in the 4.5 minutes, and outside the 4.5 minutes, we'll have a good long time to see a partial eclipse on both ends of it. So that you've got plenty of time and do whatever you want to do, nap under the tree with the partial eclipse. But the 4.5 minutes of totality, particularly if this is, for some of you, and for me, this may, unless I plan to travel, this may be the last total eclipse that I see. the next one in North America, I think is what, 2040 something or something.
Yeah, it's far. It's a long ways away. Yeah.
But anyway, but talk a little bit about during totality, what, what people maybe should try to plan for.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen an eclipse before, or you really haven't seen many eclipses, I wouldn't worry about trying to take photos. I would just try to experience it, because there's really a lot to see, and 4 minutes will go by really quickly. So I mean, it is hard to see everything. So I mean, the first thing you're going to notice is that the sky is going to look weird. There's going to be essentially, it's going to look like a sunset everywhere you look. The sky, then if you look upward from the horizon, you're going to have the sky is going to be just a really, at least from what I remember, it was a really beautiful midnight blue. And then as you get closer, as you kind of look closer to the sun, you're going to start to see like stars and planets out. And then you're just going to see a hole in the sky with light streamers coming out of it, which is just going to be the most amazing thing you're ever going to see in your life. And so that'll be the solar corona. So the moon is obviously blocking out the sun, which creates that just black spot in the sky. And then you see the solar corona just streaming out from the sun. And so if you take your binoculars at that point, when it's completely obscured for that 4 minutes, it's safe to use binoculars. But you can really zoom into the edge of the sun where the moon is, and you might be able to see prominences. So you're going to see like little pink loops coming off the edge of the sun, and that's solar plasma trapped in magnetic field lines, leaving the edge of the sun, leaving the surface of the sun. So you should be able to see that as well. And that's normally something you can't see. You can only see that during a solar eclipse, or with a special telescope with a special filter that blocks out all the light except for a specific wavelength of red. So that's a good time to see it with your naked eyes, because you'll never see that again.
Wow. So like,
Yeah, I know Trevor and Shelley said that they may or may not have seen it before, and I think if you've seen it, you would have remembered, because it is one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see. It's amazing.
And we did have a photographer, Dan Harvey, who he got some wonderful photos of the eclipse, but he did a lot of planning to do that, and yeah, and I'm glad he did, because we got some great images that we have available to us from his work. But yeah, I agree with Patrick that unless that's more important than experiencing the eclipse. You can spend a lot of time adjusting your camera, and oh, it's done. And most of from what I read of people who are planning to photograph the eclipse, they usually get their gear set up ahead of time, know exactly what's going to happen, and then they just sort of turn it on automation so that it does what it needs to do without taking away from their experience of enjoying it. But that's a bit beyond my ability. If you have a camera you want to set up on a tripod, I think a video recording the people's reaction, to the eclipse is pretty cool. And we saw that a little bit in South Carolina. And, I shared a video with you that I think NPR put out. That was really cool to see how people react so differently in different crowds and stuff. I think that's sort of so cool. And I don't know how many people will be with us. We'll be at Frio Bat Cave, and they have sold. I don't know how many tickets they've sold. We bought them before they were even ready to sell the tickets last year. Once we determined that the path of totality, the center line is almost going right over that bat cave, and I've always wanted to go to see one of those big bat roofs. So that was a no-brainer to decide to go there. So there'll probably be a pretty good crowd there for us to see it, and so I think that's sort of part of the fun, is to hear how people react to it. Well, what other questions do you have, or like for us to check on?
So all the bats we will see are Mexican free-tailed bats.
Yes, and I don't know how the numbers will be. This is not the peak of their roosting season, but this is, where the females are in there and they'll be raising the young. So the numbers, I think, are a little bit higher later, but there should still be some coming out and some good numbers for the sunset. And everybody who I've told that we're going to watch the total eclipse at a bat cave. Well, first of all, I say that's really cool, which it is. And this is the second largest bat roost of the Mexican free-tailed bats in the United States. So Bracken Cave, I think, is number one. But anyway, millions and millions of bats use this cave. But anyway, some people wonder, well, will the bats react to this? And it's only 4.5 minutes of freaking darkness. So I'm sort of thinking they're probably not, but I don't really know for sure. But we will be. The eclipse is 1:30ish in the afternoon. So we'll be spending the rest of the afternoon sort of exploring the area and waiting for the sunset for when the bats should come out. Unless for some reason, if they all come out.
Yeah, they might come out early.
That would be pretty incredible. I'm not anticipating that though.
Jerry, we're not going into the cave at all, right? There's just a viewpoint.
The only person that's going into the cave just because he brought the subject up was Ken. No, the cave is everybody's outside, and it's like a sinkhole opening in the earth, and so the bats are going in and out. So no one other than some researchers might go into the cave at some time, and that's very limited. No, we're not going to be in the cave. We'll be outside the entrance of the cave. And you can actually go on Google Earth and pull it up if you can find it, or go on Frio Bat Cave's website and look at some of the images they may have. But yeah, it's very, very much out in the open, in the hill country. So there aren't a lot of larger. There are not a lot of large trees. There's more of a shrubby vegetation, and it's just you can watch some of the videos of when they're coming out, and that's been on my bucket list, which I have not seen. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Ken, if you're actually saying something, you're muted, which is probably good for us. You're still muted.
No, I'm not.
All right, go
If
for
you
it.
want me-
And you have to forgive Ken and I. We sort of, we jab each other a lot. So
No. If you want me to go into the Bat Cave, I will. I'll do whatever you want me to do. You know that.
might give you, well, depending on how you behave during the week, I might give you a little push at that time. Well, anything else? And one thing that I insist on all of my trips, and I think Dave Davenport does too, is that you have fun. This is your trip. We want it to be fun for you, and please speak up and let us know how we can make it more enjoyable, how we can make it, how you can see what you want to see and hear what you want to hear about. Just please speak up at any point that we can make it better. And I know that we've got a fairly busy schedule, and so we want to make sure we also build in a little relaxation too, so that you're not necessarily getting up at sunrise to sunset every day. Go. We will look for some opportunity to relax a little bit when it's appropriate, and let us know what you would like during the trip. Don't be afraid to speak up. So I need a nap or something. I don't know.
I just wanted to add
Just
one
wanted to
thing
say-
about, oh, no, go ahead, David.
I was just going to say, I appreciate the information you've sent already, and we're both, I think, really getting excited about the trip. It just sounds like it's going to be great.
But thank you, David. We're all looking forward to it too. And we're just, you know, I think it's going to be just a wonderful trip. You know, we don't have a clue what the weather will be like. So we'll deal with whatever it hands out. We are positioned in South Texas to have the highest probability of clear skies than anywhere else in the US. If you could improve your odds by going into Mexico a little bit, but we're positioned pretty well. So I'm pretty pleased with that choice. And plus, South Texas wildlife is you know, very different from what we have in North Carolina. Maybe very different from what you have too. So that's going to be a treat too. Patrick, you were going to add something.
Yeah, I forgot to mention one thing. So there's also a possibility that we could see a comet during totality as well. So the prediction is that there's supposed to be a short period comet that's approaching the sun, and it reaches its closest point to the sun, which is still very far away, on the 20th or so of April. And so it should be in near the same direction as the sun at that point. But it's unclear just how bright it's going to be, and it may not be visible, but there's a chance we could see it. And so there's so basically when you see totality, actually I could show you, if I could share a screen, I could show you what the sky is going to look like.
This is new to me, Patrick. Haven't shared that with me yet. That would be awesome if that was a possibility.
So this is a slide I put together. So this is essentially what the sky will look like during totality. So you're going to see, can you see my pointer?
Yes, we can see
Okay.
it.
So Saturn and Mars will be down here. You'll have Venus right here. This is the sun and the moon. Jupiter's over here. And then this comet should be somewhere around in this area close to Jupiter. So so if you do have binoculars, obviously you're going to be able to see these planets, but maybe you can see this comet over here too. So if you just follow this line of bright objects, the comet should be between Jupiter and the sun.
Wow, that would
Patrick, will it look like it has a tail or just a spot like a planet?
Well, considering it's still going to be fairly bright out, you may not be able to see the tail, so it may just look like a fuzzy dot. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, it's unclear exactly how bright it's going to be though either. So I think the last thing I read was that it's not even visible to the naked eye right now. So probably only with the telescope and binoculars, but as it's getting closer to the sun, it may brighten up, but it's unclear. They're kind of unpredictable as exactly how bright they're going to be. So we just have to take our chances and see what we can see.
It's certainly worth looking, and that would be really awesome if we actually could see it. And the fact that it's between the sun, moon, and Jupiter sort of gives us a nice target. Once we find Jupiter, you can look for it in that area. Great.
Patrick, what is the name of the comet?
It's either Comet 12P or the Pons-Brooks comet. So it's a short period comet. I think it's like similar to Halley's in that it's every 71 years or so. And I think it was discovered in the 1800s, or at least, more recently recorded in the 1800s. But I think there's earlier recordings of it, just not totally confirmed.
Well, that's cool. And that reminded me of the question that I think Barbara had. Why are some eclipses totality 2.5 minutes and some 4.5 minutes?
Yeah, that's because nothing lines up perfectly. That's also why eclipses are like in random places on the Earth, right? They're not always like in a straight band cutting across the Earth every single time. It's just because
I'm gonna need visual aids. Just saying.
Okay. Well, I mean, I actually have some. Hold on. I mean, essentially,
not tonight, but
not
I'm
tonight.
just saying.
Okay, all right, but I can bring them, and we'll put it together. I can show you.
Like one of those big 3D models that you like crank and spins around. That would be really good if you could bring that with you.
Yeah, I'll bring that in my carry-on.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Right. we will recruit all of you to serve as different bodies, astronomical bodies to simulate that.
Actually, yeah, that would work out great. Actually, we could do that.
And you know, and one neat thing is the fact that the size of the moon and the distance of the moon, you know, from the sun and the earth lines up so that we can have a total eclipse. And I don't know if you paid attention, but earlier this year there was an annular eclipse. Matter of fact, the annular eclipse also went over to Bat Cave, and they were having a viewing for that. And that was when the lineup didn't really cover the whole disk of the sun. So it's just somewhat random that we end up with having a total eclipse. And Patrick, you might can put that in better words than I, that we're sort of, you know, not every planet with a sun has a total eclipse we know of.
Yeah, we happen to be here at just the right time. Because the moon is getting further away, and eventually there'll all be annular eclipses. So we're here at just the right moment, so we can get a total solar eclipse, and we can actually see, like I said, like those pink loops and things like that. So we're at a fortunate time to be here.
So how much longer will people on Earth be able to see a total eclipse?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, for a long time, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think the moon is moving away from the Earth at about an inch per year. So yeah, when it's
we'll give you
noticeable, I
some
don't know.
time to figure that out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what else? Yeah, we're right on 8 o'clock. We want to answer any questions that you might have that we can. And again, I'm going to ask Dave give us a little bit more information about the mosquitoes. And we will at least get two-way radios to talk between the vans, and might explore something else. But any other questions? And again, you know, we have a month, so if there are any other questions that come into mind that you need help with, we have time to answer them and address them. So anything else for us tonight? Well, I see David's getting a real face licking there, so that's great. Well, thank you so much for you know, joining us this evening. We're all looking really forward to spending a week in Texas with doing lots of wildlife observing and bat observing and stars, and we'll certainly get good views of the sun. And again, I'm being very optimistic that we're going to see the total eclipse, and you know, so I'm gonna hope that we do. So
I have to add that I've never been on one of your hikes where it rained. So I think the chance is very good we'll see what we want to see.
all right, very good. All right. Hope everybody bring good karma with you. Pack that in your luggage too. And again, email myself, email me if you have any questions. Dave, I think is going to be out of the town for a little bit between now, and it might be easier to get questions to me and I can get to him if I can't answer the question. But anyway, let us know. And you weren't aware, Dave and I are actually going the day before most of you are, so that we can get the rental vans, buy groceries, that type of thing, so that we'll be picking you up in those vans from the airport. And many of you are coming from different locations and a little bit of a different schedule. So we will be there to pick you up. Patrick will be departing with many of the people who are leaving from Raleigh on that April 3rd date. So he'll be there. I forget what time that flight is leaving, but he'll be there with part of the group. So anyway, no further questions. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and hope you have a great evening, and we look forward to seeing you in about 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jerry.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
me see if I can stop recording.